Greetings, it's Will from StormTheCastle.com, and you are watching the Sense of Wonder YouTube channel. Thanks for tuning in. In this Friday episode is a fish and chips, and we're going to go for a walk, and I'm going to talk about creativity, making things, and learning things.
And it's noontime on Friday. What does that mean? It's fish and chips. It's Fish and Chips Friday, but today I'm getting clams, actually, fish and clams. It's a big thing in New England. All right, so let's launch into the intro, and then we will do a walk and talk. Thanks.
Okay, so I'm going to talk about, in this walk and talk, I'm going to talk about creativity, making things, and learning things. It's kind of a whole lot, right? I'm covering a whole lot of bases there, but I kind of have a point. And my point is a little bit inspirational for you in terms of, what your life and what you can do. Like, let me start by saying, you ever meet one of those people that, just has a gift for doing something, whatever it may be. It could be music, it could be art, or it could be, any kind of creative endeavor, writing, and they just get a knack or talent for it. It's like it's like a born talent. I've met people like that, and I'm always amazed by how I've followed people like that, and I've worked with people like that, and I've tried to emulate people like that, and I don't understand it at all, because it's not that way for me, for sure. I do a lot of different things, I guess, from music to a little bit of art, and making things, and even all kinds of different subjects that I follow and I enjoy and I love and kind of dabble in, I guess you could say. But for me, none of it's talent, really. It's all just hard work and persistence. So, and that suit me well. I guess you might say that that in itself has given me a certain skill set, maybe. Maybe I have the ability, and I'm not sure. I'd have to take a closer look at myself. But maybe I have the ability to pick up things quickly, like that I've never picked up before. And maybe for some people that's difficult. Like you could pick a subject that I don't know anything about, and maybe I could delve into it quickly. So maybe that's my talent, like that, is I have that ability to kind of do that. But that doesn't matter. What I want to say is to you is that when it comes to learning things, there's a few things that I've learned about learning, and I'll share that with you. First off, like probably the most important thing is the teacher. And I never really realized this for a good portion of my younger life, and didn't realize that the quality of the person communicating to you something is tantamount. It's probably the most important thing. You can have a teacher that just can convey to you well, and knows the subject matter well, and can convey it well. And I'm not just talking about a teacher in school. I'm talking about a teacher in terms of anything, any pursuit you want to have. You have a hobby or a craft, or you make things, or you paint, or you draw, or you play a musical instrument, or you compose, symphonies. So if you're in an endeavor where you're pursuing something that you enjoy, be aware that it's important to be sensitive to the teacher, who it is, and what they're about, and what their style is, and how well that works for you, because you could find someone else that's much better or much worse, and oftentimes you don't really think that way. We kind of just assume that they know what they're doing. Like, you can find a blacksmith that's just fantastic blacksmith, just can do anything, and just has that gift, like I was talking about earlier. But yeah, it doesn't. They can't carry that message across to you. Because their gifts don't lie in that direction. And which is okay. We're all on a scale there. We're all somewhere in the spectrum. And so you be aware first off that who you learn from. And that includes YouTube videos, books, that some will connect well with you and some will understand the subject matter in a way that will help you grow in that area really, really fast, or grow in a way that's suitable for you. And let's move on to suitable for you. And when you're learning things and you're trying to grow in an area. Another important thing to realize is that you have certain, proclivities and preferences that work better for you. Like some people are audio learners. They're really good at listening to somebody tell them how to do something or explain to them, and then they can pick it up really fast. And some people are not good at that. Some people are just hands-on learners. They have to put their hands on it, and then they get an understanding of how to do it and what to do. And some people are visual learners. They can watch and really get a good grasp of what's going on and grow through that. And we're all a combination of all those things in some aspect or another, but generally you have a way that works better for you. So, consider that too when you're making things, or you're, pursuing a hobby or a craft or an artistic endeavor or whatever it may be. That your some styles of communication are going to be better for you as a person, just based on what you do, how you learn. So that's what I wanted to say. You have to be aware of yourself and what works well for you, and a lot of times we don't realize that. So when you're surfing YouTube or you're surfing the web and you're looking for particular things to learn or make or do, or to help you get better, then be aware that some work well for you, and try to be in touch with that, because it will make a big difference in how quickly or how deeply that you get better at something. So I wanted to, I'm going to make probably, unless something pops up, I want to make one more point about, pursuing artistic endeavors and crafts and making things and all of that. And that's the ladder of, I don't know what to call it, the ladder of getting better. And how that is, sometimes we have this strange conundrum that we run into, in that, the first time, or when you're first starting out with something, you're going to be terrible. And that's, blacksmithing is a good example. I'll talk about that a little bit. I ruined my first few knives. And my very first knife that I tried to make, I burned it. I overheated it, and I took it out of the fire, and I was like, it's melted, and it's sparking. White sparks are coming off of it, and I remember it well. And so what can happen there is that before you even start, things like that are going to happen with anything. So it tends to make you not want to start. I get email from people all the time, like discussing the psychology of all of this, and or giving me things like this. And oftentimes the people expect, we all kind of expect to jump into something and be great at it. And it's just not the way it works. Unless you're one of those people that I talked about first thing off in this video, that just somehow has a talent or a knack that just born with, but, otherwise, normally, you're going to be terrible. And whatever you do, whatever you make, whatever project, is going to not be very good. It's just because that's the nature of the game. You have to go through the not goods, and a lot of them, to get to the little bit betters and the more goods and the hey, not bads. And you have to go through those, and you should embrace those, because some of my stuff, and you don't see it all. Even if you watch all my videos, you don't see the videos I don't post, or I very rarely post a fail video. I may have only done one or two, because and that's only because it ends up to have poor quality for you. You're not going to get much out of it. I can usually talk about a fail in the success video and transfer you to the information. There's no need for me to do all the work behind the narration and the video editing behind a fail video. And that's okay. You should think of that as just part of the process, and that's all. That's all it is. You can't be good without being lousy at stuff. And an interesting thing that I've noticed in my life anyway is that if you you have all these fails or all these attempts in a bunch of different areas, the strange thing about it is how it makes you better. Like, if you do a lot of one kind of thing, say you carpentry, you start to develop these skills in visualizing things in 3 dimensions, how things are going to fit together and how things hide behind other things, and just an example, but and that transfers well into so much other stuff. So when you make yourself a better carpenter or a better paper maker or a better astronomer or a better, origamiist, is that a word, origamiist? You actually make yourself better in other ways too. Because you've made distinctions, you've made observations, you've increased capabilities, and that transfers into all kinds of other stuff, which is really kind of cool. I say, fail a lot, and have fun doing it. Just, if you and let's talk about my projects. If you want to make one of my projects, do it. It's all right there, and I give you step-by-step instructions and go forward. And if it comes out crappy, well, excuse my language, but if it comes out lousy, well, good. Send me a picture. I will tell you did a good job because you did, and I'll put the picture on my website, and I'll send you a certificate of contribution. Because you really did. You've made some distinctions. You've learned a little bit more about how to do something, anything, and that's really kind of cool. We spend so much time in this world, and that's one more thing I wanted to say too. I think I'll probably end with this. Maybe I only have we spend so much time in this world doing other stuff because there's so many demands on us. There's a lot of screaming going on, a lot of companies and a lot of things, screaming for our attention. So we kind of pay attention to those things, and that leads us into kind of passive. I don't know what to call it. Passive observation of life, almost. Where you're kind of just being entertained, and then a certain amount of that is okay. But you change as a person when you shift over from being passively entertained to being actively constructing whatever it may be. And it could be anything. It could be composing music, or it could be writing a story. It could be, making a book, designing a telescope, or folding origami, building a tiny little scene, out of clay, or making a diorama, or all these things, all these wonderful things you could do. It's entertainment in a way, but it's also growing you, which like I said, that process continues, and no matter what you're doing or you're making, it's growing you in other ways too, because you make distinctions and you increase your abilities to do stuff.
In tomorrow's video, I'm going to be covering a little special secret of Leonardo da Vinci. It's all about life, adventure, creativity, and never losing that sense of wonder.